But the biggest issue, Goodman,
Yeah.
the technical foul.
You think? It was awful. I mean, it was absolutely awful
Hold the mic
to
up.
me. You know, think about Hurley. And again, I've known Danny a long time, okay? And this has been an issue for him for a long time, of him constantly going after the refs and wearing the refs down. And he gets hit right now today in a one possession game with 2+ minutes to go on the road against Xavier. And again, it may not be that one thing that Dan Hurley does at that time. And that's what he's got to understand. He's got to get in his head that it's not that one thing, but it's the buildup. And to be honest, it's like what I told Jason Tatum 5 years ago, which was stop throwing your arms out every time you're complaining about a foul, because you're not going to get calls 3, 4, 5 years from now when you deserve them. When you're and it's exactly that now. He's not getting. It's the same thing with Dan Hurley. He kind of made his bed already. And obviously, listen, probably deserved today's anyway. But even if he doesn't, sometimes he gets teed up because of the accumulation, because of what he's done in the past. And he's got to be on his best behavior now. And he's got to find a way. And he told me when he was in Portland, you saw it. He wrote it on his wrist. He showed me. He said, from now on, I'm going to look at this and it says, coach your guys. And he's got to really, that's his biggest New Year's resolution. If you're a UConn fan, if you're Dan Hurley, if you're the players, it's, hey, coach, just worry about coaching. Like, don't worry about the refs. You're going to get screwed on some calls, but you've got so far to go right now to get those refs where they're not going to tee you up if it's close. You've already built that. And Bobby has too, to some degree, but I think Bobby's done a better job now of, from me talking to a lot of the refs. And I do, you know that. I talk to a lot of the refs in this business. A lot of them they've had it with him. They've had it with Dan Hurley and his act. And he was better in Portland, and now I feel like he's kind of reverted back again.
Well, here's the thing, because there was one of the biggest possessions of the game. There's 3 minutes left, right? And there was a incredibly evident moving screen on Zach Fremantle, which the fact that it went uncalled was a horrible call. One of the worst calls and like the worst known calls in a big moment that I've seen this season, right? But that you can't, just because you had that one bad call, you cannot go out and get a technical as a result of it. Like that's where you have to be able
to know better. Yeah, you got to.
You have to know where the line is and not cross it, and you have to understand that you have, like you said, you have built up enough equity with these refs that they're going to ding you and they're going to light you up in moments where they wouldn't light other people up, just because it's kind of, you're wearing them thin. So,
well, remember the other day,
the other thing is, like, but real quick, that foul call was awful. But what lost UConn that game was the 4 turnovers in the last 6 minutes that were unforced. It wasn't you should expect better from the officials in that, even in a road environment, right? I think if the refs go back and look at it now, every one of them will say that was a missed call. It happens. They're humans. We have bad predictions. You every once in a while say that Trey Burke is going to go to the NBA draft and doesn't end up going to the NBA draft, right? We all have our moments. But you have to be able to accept that and move on. Like, it's the next play mentality, right? You miss a shot, don't think about it. He got the tech a good 35 seconds of game time and probably 2 minutes after that actual missed call. So, like, I don't want to rail on too much, and I don't. No,
but I honestly, I really believe he needs to hear it. I almost think Dan Hurley needs to hear this from other people now, because it's gone on long enough. And now when it starts costing your team opportunities, when your team is good, hey, this isn't some team now that's fighting just to get in the NIT. This is a good damn team, and they've got a chance. And to me, you don't want this to happen again. Like, let it happen now, because honestly, it's probably not going to affect them at the end of the day, right? Like, whether they won this game or not, it's a tough road game against Xavier. Xavier could win this league, but you can't do this
tech or not. They probably don't win this game down the stretch, but It's good to, I don't know. I don't want to ever say it's good.
Well, listen, you saw the game the other day, right? It was a game against Villanova. Wasn't Danny calling Jeffrey Anderson, their ref, a bleeping clown?
Yeah, but it was like,
What was that?
It was, there was a no call, or there was a foul. Don Westanogo picked up his second foul on like contesting a 3-point shooter when the guy jumped into him.
Yeah, I saw it.
It wasn't the right call, right?
Yep.
I disagree with that call, but I understand why it was called that way. And then I don't think he was saying it to the guy's face, but you could catch him on.
He wasn't. No, Jeffrey Anderson, the high stepper, was across the court. He was across the court, but it doesn't matter. The other refs see that. The other refs around the country. You don't think the refs who did the game today?
Here's the other part of it too. Here's the other thing. TV people understand that he is entertaining on the sideline, and you might catch him saying something.
Right. It was like
on
Frank
the
Martin
sideline.
used to be. It was like Frank Martin.
So they zoom in on him.
Sure.
You're going to get the attention now. Like, you gotta be aware of it. It's going to be a thing. Like, people are going to pay attention to it, and because it happened
more and
here,
more too. The more you do it, the more the TV cameras are going to lock in on you, just like they did with Frank Martin. And Frank, it wasn't yelling. Remember, it wasn't yelling at the refs. It was going after his players and getting in their face. With Hurley, it's going after the refs constantly. And I'm just telling you, like, he needs to figure this thing out. He's got to, honestly, he's got to mature and figure this thing out and be consistent with it, or else it's going to bite him in the ass, really going to bite his team in the ass when it matters, potentially. Because in the NCAA tournament, these guys aren't going to care. You're going to deal with refs that aren't going to see him again and again and again. You're going to deal with, maybe a Pac-12 ref who's dealt with Bobby, but not Danny. You're going to, deal with maybe a Mountain West and the elite refs if you get to, the Sweet 16 and the Final Four, and they're being graded. So they're not going to deal with it. They're going to tee him right up.